Rex's armor is impregnable. You can't do any damage with the weapons you've got. Rex uses the latest advances in compound armor. The only way you can pierce it is with a high-performance heat round.
So what do I do?
Rex's pilot seat operates exactly like a VR system. It's got multiple sensors connected to a high-tech interface used for the controls. It's completely self-enclosed and shut off from the outside environment.
He's not using his naked eyes.
That's right. So if you could somehow destroy the sensors... Do you see that round plate on Rex's left arm?
Yeah, that thing that looks like a shield.
That's a radome. If you can destroy that thing, it won't be able to use its electronic equipment.
So he'll be blinded.
Yeah. Try to hit that radome with a Stinger missile.
So will that stop it?
No. Rex was designed so it can be controlled manually, too.
Oh, great.
The part that looks like a beak is where the pilot seat is. In an emergency, it will open up. Rex's armor is perfect. You can't destroy it.
You told me that already.
But the interior is a different story.
I get it. First I destroy the radome. That will force him to open up the pilot's seat.
Right. If you can shoot a missile into the cockpit, you'll destroy the computer control system.
You intentionally designed it with a weak point?
It's not a weak point. More like a weakness. People and weapons just aren't very appealing without a weakness of some kind. Don't you think?
I guess so. I owe you one, Otacon.
First, use a Stinger missile to destroy the radome and disable its electronics. I saw it in President Baker's top-secret files. Rex has a free electron laser mounted on its belly. It's a laser weapon that discharges a laser beam into an electron beam that's been accelerated using giant magnets. It can generate an incredible amount of energy. Pretty close to 100 megawatts. That's 10 times greater than any other laser out there. If Rex steps on you, it'll be all over. Be very careful when he gets close. Rex is equipped with anti-tank missiles on both of his knees. They're a laser semi-active homing type that doesn't use wires. The shooter uses a laser illuminator to bounce a laser beam off the target. After that, the missile uses the light reflected off the target to home in on it. Fortunately, the missiles are tipped with heat rounds and not anti-personnel warheads. But if they hit you directly, you'll be sorry. Be careful! The railgun uses magnetism to fire projectiles. By perfecting the process of shell acceleration, the railgun is able to fire a projectile with a muzzle velocity of over 100 kilometers per second. It was originally going to be used as part of SDI to shoot down enemy ICBMs outside the atmosphere. It's ironic that now it's going to be used to deliver a nuclear warhead. Rex is the first actual prototype model, but they've been doing virtual prototyping for a while now. They pop it into a VR simulation while it's still in the design phase. That way they can make improvements to the design while testing it under all sorts of simulated conditions. So even though it's a prototype, it's extremely well designed. Be careful.
Destroy Metal Gear. We're out of time. If you can't do it, I'll have to resort to my last option.
Last option?
We have a submarine prepared to deliver a full nuclear strike on the base.
What the hell?
Radome stands for Radar Dome. It is a cover protecting a super-sensitive electronic scanning array. Almost all modern combat aircraft have them. It is not just a radar system in there. That radome probably contains infrared sensors, motion detectors, and other kind of equipment too. It is like a combination of eyes, ears, and nose all rolled into one. If you could destroy that, you might have a chance. It probably uses some kind of electronic targeting equipment, similar to a tank. If you use chaff, you should be able to confuse it, for a little while.
Did that do it? Fox?
A name from long ago. It sounds better than Deep Throat.
So it is you.
You look terrible, Snake. You haven't aged well.
I'll send you back to hell!
Fox, why? What do you want from me?
I'm a prisoner of death. Only you can free me.
Fox, stay out of this. What about Naomi? She's hell-bent on taking revenge for you.
Naomi.
You're the only one who can stop her.
No, I can't.
Why?
Because I'm the one who killed her parents. I was young then, and couldn't bring myself to kill her too. Oh, I felt so bad that I decided to take her with me. I raised her like she was my own blood, to soothe my guilty conscience. Even now, she thinks of me as her brother.
Fox.
Outwardly, we may have seemed like contented brother and sister, but every time I looked into her eyes, I trembled with fear. Tell her for me. Tell her that I was the one who did it.
There you are!
We're just about out of time. Here's a final present from Deep Throat. I'll stop it from moving.
Fox! In the Middle East, we don't hunt foxes, we hunt jackals. Instead of foxhounds,
We use Royal Harriers!
Fox!
how strong is that exoskeleton of yours? Snake, are you just going to sit by and watch him die?
A cornered fox is more dangerous than a jackal! He destroyed the radome.
Impressive! You are indeed worthy of the codename Fox, but now you're finished!
Now, fire the stinger! Fox!
Can you really shoot? You'll kill him too!
Now, front of you, I can finally die. After Zanzibar land, I was taken from the battle, neither truly alive nor truly dead. An undying shadow in a world of light. But soon it will finally end.
Die! Fox!
Snake! We're not tools of the government or anyone else. Fighting was the only thing I was good at. But at least I always fought for what I believed in. Snake! Farewell.
When death is entreated, the battle is decided. You see, you can't protect anyone! Not even yourself!
Fox is dead.
I know. God rest his soul. Even a soldier needs more to live for than just fighting. Maybe if he had found something else, he wouldn't have been so haunted.
He was too simple, too pure. There was nothing in this world for him to believe in. So he chose to believe only in himself.
I guess you're right. A man like Fox is really looking for his death.
Yeah. But if you ask me, there's no happiness to be gained in death. No peace either. I'm gonna leave here alive. Good.
I want that too.
Snake! I'll crush you into dust! Sleeping late as usual, eh, Snake?
Liquid, you're still alive.
I won't die, as long as you still live.
Too bad. It looks like your revolution was a failure.
Just because you've destroyed Metal Gear doesn't mean I'm done fighting.
Fighting? What are you really after?
The restoration of the era when warriors such as us lived as we should.
That was Big Boss's fantasy.
It was his dying wish. When he was young during the Cold War, the world needed men like us. We were valued then, We were desired. But things are different now. With all the liars and hypocrites running the world, war isn't what it used to be. We're losing our place in a world that no longer needs us. A world that now spurns our very existence. You should know that as well as I do. After I launch this weapon and get our $1 billion, we'll be able to bring chaos and honor back to this world gone soft. Conflict shall breed conflict, new hatreds will arise, and our own biosphere shall steadily expand.
But as long as there are people, there will always be war.
But the problem is balance. Father knew what type of a balance was best.
Is that the only reason?
Isn't that reason enough for warriors such as us?
I don't want that kind of world.
Ha! You lie! So why are you here then? Why do you continue to follow your orders while your superiors betray you? Why did you come here? Well, I'll tell you then. You enjoy all the killing, that's why.
What?
Are you denying it? Haven't you already killed most of my comrades?
That was...
I watched your face as you delivered the coup de grace. Oh, it reflected such vitality.
You're wrong!
There is a killer inside you. You don't have to deny it. We were created to be that way.
Created?
Les enfants terribles. The terrible children. That's what the project was called. It started in the 1970s. Their plan was to artificially create the most powerful soldier possible. The person that they chose as the model was a man known then as the greatest living soldier in the world.
Big Boss.
But Father was wounded in combat and already in a coma when they brought him in. So they created us from his cells, with a combination of 20th century analog cloning and the super baby method.
Super baby method?
They fertilized an egg with one of Father's cells, and then let it divide into 8 clone babies. Then they transferred the clones to someone's uterus, and later intentionally aborted 6 of the fetuses to encourage strong fetal growth. You and I were originally octuplets.
Octuplets?
Yes. The other 6 of our brothers were sacrificed to make us. We were accomplices in murder before the day we were even born. So, it was you and I, 2 fertilized eggs with exactly the same DNA. But they weren't finished yet. They used me as a guinea pig to create a phenotype in which all of the dominant genes were expressed to create you. I got all the recessive genes. You took everything from me before I was even born. But you and I aren't his only children.
What?
The Genome Soldiers. They too are his progeny, carrying on his genetic legacy. But unlike us, they carry it digitally. With the completion of the Human Genome Project in the last century, the mysteries of humanity were laid bare. Thanks to Father's DNA, they were able to identify more than 60 soldier genes responsible for everything from strategic thinking to the proverbial killer instinct. Those soldier genes were transplanted, using gene therapy, into the members of the Next Generation Special Forces. That's how they became the Genome Soldiers. That's right. The genome soldiers that you've been killing right and left are our brothers with the same genes as ours.
The genome soldiers?
They are misshapen creatures, artificially produced from Father's genetic pattern. They are our blood brothers, and they were born of many an ultimate sacrifice.
Sacrifices?
Human experiments. Huh? 1991, the Gulf War. The military secretly injected soldiers with the soldier genes. The Gulf War syndrome that hundreds of thousands of returning soldiers complained about was a side effect of it.
Ha! Everyone knows that the Gulf War syndrome was caused by exposure to pesticides and radiation from depleted uranium rounds.
That was just a cover story issued by the Pentagon. First, they tried to say it was post-traumatic stress disorder, then chemical or biological weapons. The poison gas detection units and the anti-sarin injections were all just to cover up the secret genetic experiments.
So then, the so-called Gulf War babies that have been reported by Gulf War veterans are...
Yes, they too are our brothers and sisters.
So the genome soldiers mean that the experiments were a success?
Success? Don't be a fool. They're a complete failure. We're on the verge of extinction.
What?
Have you ever heard of the asymmetry theory? Nature tends to favor asymmetry. Those species which have gone extinct all show signs of symmetry. The genome soldiers suffer from the same problem, signs of symmetry. So do I, as do you. That's right. We are all on the verge of death at the genetic level. We don't know when or what type of disease will occur. That's why we need the old man's genetic information.
You want Big Boss's DNA so you can save your family? It's very touching.
In nature, family members don't mate with each other, and yet they help each other to survive. Do you know why? Because it increases the chances that shared genes will be transmitted to future generations. Altruism among blood relatives is a response to natural selection. That we will help our blood relatives is inscribed in our very genes.
You're telling me that your genes are ordering you to save the genome soldiers?
You can't fight your genes. It's fate. All living things are born for the sole purpose of passing on their parents' genes. That's why I'll follow what my genes tell me. And then, I'm going to go beyond, in order to break the curse of my heritage. And to do that, first, I will kill you. Look behind you.
Meryl? Is she alive?
I'm not sure. She was alive a few hours ago. Poor girl kept calling your name.
Meryl?
Stupid woman. Falling in love with a man who doesn't even have a name?
I have a name.
No. We have no past, no future. If we did, our fate is nothing but what is determined in the genes we inherited from our father.
Let Meryl go.
As soon as we finished our business, we're almost out of time.
You're talking about Foxdie.
No. It seems now that the Pentagon knows that Metal Gear is destroyed. They've arrived at a decision. They won't even need a BDA. If you want the details, why don't you ask your precious Colonel Campbell?